What's going on, party people, and welcome. It is Saturday, November 9th, 2019, and you are listening to the very fourth episode of Crossplay, where we get together and talk about all the video game goodness we can handle each week right here on the Whatnauts.com. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be doing a Luigi's Mansion 3 review. We're going to be talking about popular Fortnite YouTuber Faze and how he was permanently banned for cheating. And there has also been some more shakeups at PlayStation, so we're going to be talking about all of that and more coming up on this show for all the good boys and girls of many different ages.
Unless you're naughty.
Right. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined on the mic by Mick.
Hello.
And we have Ignacio back this week.
Yeah, I'm back, baby.
What were you up to this past week, Ignacio?
Well, I had classes. I had to study.
Wait,
a lot of studying.
Was it like
not enough
finals
free
time or something?
Well, no, finals is like in 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I had to study for some tests.
Gotcha.
Yeah, our schedule has been pretty bad lately because of recent events.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of things piled up.
That's right, because you were out of school for a couple days, right? I think I heard you.
Yeah, more or less
that.
a week.
Wow, a week.
Mm-hmm.
I wish, man.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's a shame about what happened, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Mick, how have you been?
Yes. I've been pretty good. I've been traveling all this week, so I haven't been able to play too much. Really busy with work, but I was able to fit in a couple games and try out some new stuff.
There you go. I saw you streaming yesterday.
Yeah, my first stream is being an affiliate on Twitch.
Nice.
You can go sub to me at
Congratulations.
twitch.tv/thenanobiologist. I submitted my first round of emotes, which should hopefully be approved soon. And they
That's
are all
fantastic.
corgi-based.
Of course.
That's fantastic. My week
I know
has
what the crowd
been
wants.
strange. It's been like a normal, boring week for me, but apparently my parents met Kanye West.
Okay, so
Yeah.
are you
What?
sure that's right?
Yes, I am 100% sure. So I shared the story over on our podcast called The Captain's Log. So you guys should go check out that. But the short of it is, he's been looking to buy a ranch out in Wyoming, which is where my parents live. Apparently, he's already bought it, I think. I don't know. But my parents have mentioned him the past couple months of being like, oh, yeah, he was in town this week. He did a free concert and stuff like that. So apparently, my parents went out to lunch. And I'm not sure if he was there first or they were there first, but my mom ended up realizing that he was sitting directly behind them and like talking about schooling options for his kid. And so my parents, being the religious people that they are, were like, "Hey, you guys should come out to our church." And they invited him out to church and apparently gave him their number, and he took it down and saved it in his phone and stuff. So,
Did they get his number?
I doubt it. I doubt
Do
it.
they have any pictures?
My mom,
Because I still...
the typical picture that I wanted to see, my mom was like, I decided to not get a picture because I think it would be too tacky. Is that something people do? Is that like she doesn't know. That's like, yes, people want to see pictures of that stuff. But she did
I
happen
don't know. Pixar, it didn't happen.
Right. She did happen to get a picture like over her shoulder, like a creepy, like I'm spying on you picture of like, I see that he's like behind me. I'm kind of taking a selfie, but he's behind me here. That's him there.
So, awkward, creepy selfie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you have seen proof.
Yeah. And we
Okay.
double checked it on the captain's log last night because Melissa was like, have you seen any news articles of him being out in Wyoming? That just seems like a strange place for him to be. I was like, I mean, I haven't.
I don't know.
looked it
For
up.
him,
What was
for
that?
He's already a very strange
to look
guy.
for a ranch.
Yeah, like if he's out in Wyoming looking for a ranch, I imagine he just wants to get away from people, you know, lots of space to do whatever he does.
Yeah.
So who knows? But he's been out there. That was wild. The strange thing was that my parents didn't tell me for like 2 days. Just like didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh,
you
yeah.
know, an average day of meeting Kanye.
Yeah. But by the way, a couple days ago, we met Kanye West. Just thought you ought to know.
Yeah. Also, we met Paul McCartney last week.
Right?
Yeah. No big deal.
I was like, oh my God, this is wild. No idea. So yeah, that's been my week of just coming to terms with that.
Well, that's such an exciting time.
Exactly.
It'd be awesome if he does follow through and text them.
Right? Or like shows up to their tiny church and is just like, hey, I'm Kanye.
He would give the biggest donation to them.
That would be wild. Yeah. But let's see. Let's talk about some video games. Ignacio, since you were not here last week, let's start out with you. Let's check in and see what you've been playing.
Okay, so like I said, this week I haven't been able to play much, but last week I finally finished Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
Hey,
Took a while, but
congrats.
it's done.
What did you
Okay, so
think of that one?
Okay, so have either of you played Ocarina of Time?
Yes, many moons ago.
I played it on the 3DS up to the Ghost Temple.
The Ghost. Oh, okay.
Many
Well-
moons ago when I was a young lad.
Yeah. Well, this is my first time. So, after I finished the game, I still stand with what I said last time. I think that people who say that this is one of the best games of all time are heavily influenced by nostalgia. That being said, in the context of when this game came out, all those years ago, yes, I think this is a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up with this era of games, N64, PS1. Never got the chance to play it though. So I know what games were like back then. So playing through Ocarina of Time, knowing what games were like back then, I do appreciate what the game did. I love the story that the game was trying to do, and I appreciate what the things the game was trying to do. How basically the world goes to ruins when you suddenly leave, and now it's up to you to save everyone. I love how open the game is, but it still manages to tell a compelling story. I love how Link interacts with all of these characters he meets, who all have their own backstories, and you actually start to care for what happens to them. I love the puzzles and all that, the open world, like I said. I really enjoyed the game. Like,
There you go.
having gone through all of that, I can say I really enjoyed the game.
How do you think it controlled? Because that is one of the things that I feel like wouldn't hold up or hasn't hold up. I guess I've not gone back to play it, but I imagine that would be one of the tough spots. Just like, how do you make this work?
That's one of my complaints, actually.
What did you play it on?
3DS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was a
So-
better control scheme, only because you had more... No, you didn't have more face buttons. Never mind, continue.
No. I mean, I know what the N64 controller was like, so I can't imagine playing that game in that controller. That terrible controller, actually. So, one of my biggest complaint is that...
It's so bad, it's good.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Okay, so that goddamn camera. Okay, so I know the N64 had only one stick, but I wish somehow the game had a better camera control. I constantly had to press the look button just to have the camera pointing towards where I wanted to.
Yeah.
And aiming in that game is so bad. Even with the gyroscopes, it's not good.
Yeah, I think that game would be fantastic if they remade it in the same sense that they remade Link's Awakening.
Yes,
Not
absolutely.
not in the same style, but just like, hey, we're remaking this game with modern controls and stuff like that. I still think that game would be like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, because what is in the actual game, I think it's really good even now. But technical stuff is what's like dragging it down for me.
Okay.
For example,
That makes sense.
another criticism I have is the checkpoint system. For example, I died in the last battle, and it dropped me like 2 levels earlier, and that was so annoying. And also, even if you save in a certain area, if you boot up the game again, it will start you in one of 2 areas, depending on if you are a young Link or adult Link.
Yeah.
Or unless you're in a dungeon where it puts you at the start of the dungeon. And that was really annoying. I had to leave my 3DS on for a long time just because I didn't want to
Man,
go all the way back.
remember having
And that wasn't
to
during the water
do that
temple,
stuff?
right?
No, I mean, if you're in a temple and you start again, you boot up the game again, you start at the beginning of the temple. If you're in the overworld and say you're young Link and you're in one of these towns, if you boot it up again, you start back at the first town, at the first place. At one of the villages, I don't remember the name.
Wild.
And if you're adult Link, you start back at the temple, at the time temple.
I remember having to leave like my N64 on or my PlayStation 2 on because it was like, I know the save spots is like nowhere near me. I don't want to lose where I'm at. I haven't done that in years though.
Yeah, no, but you can save in the game whenever you want. Actually, the pause button is just the save button. Another save button gives you right then the option to save. Even if you save wherever you are, if you boot it up again, you start in one of 2 places if you're not in a dungeon.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Strange stuff.
The other problems are the final battle could have been better. I was expecting more. Yeah, and the only other problem is that the game not always is very good telling you where to go. Like sometimes people tell you where you have to go, and the map actually tells you where you have to go, but sometimes you have to figure it out, or it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
But that being said, I did really enjoy the game.
That's kind of an issue, I think, with some of those Zelda games, right? Where I think even in Link's Awakening, there were times it was like, okay, you just completed that thing, and then there was no instruction of like where to go next or what to do next, and then it's like,
Or
okay,
it's way too vague.
Yeah, or it's just like, it's that way. And it's like, okay, I'll head that way and hopefully run into the right thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, those are my thoughts on Ocarina of Time.
There you go. Now you can add that to the list of games you've beaten.
Yeah, 3rd Zelda game I've beaten, actually. And I'm looking forward to the 4th.
There you go.
Yeah. Next up is Luigi's Mansion, which I know you guys talked about last week. So, like I said, I haven't had much time to play video games, so I only play like 20-30 minutes of the game.
Okay.
And I gotta say, I'm not really enjoying it that much.
Interesting. Have you played the previous ones?
No.
No?
This is actually the first one.
Okay.
I'd say it picks up after you get everything.
What do you mean everything?
Once you get the vacuum, once you get Luigi, and start really going through the hotel, because that's really early on too. I think by the first hour you have everything that you need to get through all the game.
Yeah.
But once you start getting to the themed floors, it gets really good.
Yeah, actually, my biggest problem with the game is that I don't like the controls.
Yeah, the
I don't think it controls well.
controls are very clunky. That's for sure. Yeah, it's like the first 5 floors are kind of the tutorial stages of just like, hey, here we're gonna teach you how to walk around and move. We're gonna teach you how to use Luigi. We're gonna teach you how to use the plunger and stuff like that. And it kind of sets everything up. And then after that, like floor 6 and above, they're all fantastic. And I had a lot.
Well, I hope
that
I'm gonna give it more time.
Yeah,
give it a try.
Just stick with it and try and get through, I think, floor 2 or 3, and then decide from there if you want to keep playing.
Yeah, it's not even that long to get past those like initial tutorial stages, like an hour and a half, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully that sounds about right.
Hopefully I can play more this week because Pokemon comes out this Friday.
Oh my god!
And
There's so many games.
Yeah.
So many games.
I much rather play Pokemon.
See, I'm ready for Star Wars.
Oh, right. It's Friday too.
Yep.
Well, and the Mandalorian is like 3 days before that too. Oh my god.
Oh, this week's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. Well, and last game is Death Stranding. I only played 1 hour.
Death Stranding. I'm like 3
so Cal,
hours in.
Okay. So you played more than me.
Yeah. So I was hoping to be a little bit farther in the game than I am right now. I was hoping to play it last night, but I ended up playing The Last of Us DLC. So I'll get to that stuff in a second. But Death Stranding, I'm really liking it so far.
Really?
Yeah, I'm 3 hours in. I think the story is fascinating. They are nailing the atmosphere in the game. It's sci-fi. There's like horror stuff. It's just I want to know what is happening, why it's happening, all of that stuff. And they're really selling me on that. That being said, I think in those first 3 hours, there's, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes of actual gameplay. It's
actually,
not
I
that
thought
much.
it was going to be less, to be honest.
Which is disappointing, but it's to be expected, I think, from Kojima.
Yeah, it's a Kojima game.
Yeah, because I think it was, Metal Gear Solid 4 that had that
4
cutscene that was like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So,
oh my god, that's sounds very Kojima.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a lot of exposition at the start. It's a lot of just explaining what things are.
Is there a lot of explaining though? Because I played 1 hour and every minute there's not a time where I'm not saying what the hell is going on.
Well, yeah, so
like the game just drops you at the world.
Who was I listening to? Was it may have been Waypoint? People over at Waypoint, or maybe the people over at Game Informer. I don't remember. But they brought something up that I thought was it on the nose. In most games and stuff like that, your character does not know what is happening, right? Like, this is new to them. They're in some new situation, and you're exploring and uncovering the story with them as it happens. Whereas in Death Stranding, Sam seems to already know what's happening. He seems to know all of the characters know exactly what's happening, and you don't. And so they're talking about all of this stuff, and for me at least, it's fascinating to see them talk about it and see what this story is. but I feel out of the loop.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so do you think you'll play more?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you liked it, right?
Absolutely. I think after we get done recording this, I'm going to spend the rest of the day doing nothing but Death Stranding.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still debating on whether or not continuing it now, because I know the game is very long, and I'm not gonna have much time this week either. And also, I wanna play Last Jedi when it comes out on Friday. So I've been actually debating on whether I should stop playing Death Stranding and then pick it up again on December, where there are no newer games coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long game. I'm still kind of slowly but surely playing through Persona 5. Haven't made any progress in a long time.
You are taking on so many long games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like one weekend, I'm going to be like, I'm going to play Persona all day Saturday. And then the next weekend is going to be like, all right, I'm going to play Death Stranding all day on Saturday. And then, yeah, so we'll see. I think Death Stranding will be a good one to play kind of slowly.
So 3 hours in, are you still on the prologue?
I think I'm at the start of chapter 3.
Chapter 3?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
So, we'll see.
Huh. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. But let's see. I also mentioned The Last of Us. I finally re-beat The Last of Us because I've been playing that with a friend of mine.
What'd they think of it?
She loved it. She thought it was amazing.
Nice.
This was maybe a little bit more intense than she would have liked, but I made sure I was like, hey, this is a really intense game. I know you're not super into like the hyper violent stuff. And she was like, yeah, you tried to warn me. It was still a lot. But she ended up.
So was it still
liking it. What was that?
Was it still as emotional for you playing it again?
Yes.
As it was in the first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think when I played it the first time, I didn't really put much thought into what Joel was doing. I just kind of played it and was like, all right, yeah, these are the bad guys. I'm supposed to go beat the bad guys. And kind of since then, having it linger, right, and just be like, huh, maybe he didn't do the right thing. Maybe he did.
Yep.
But either way, he's just really selfish, and he's not a great person. Like, he has good intentions, sure, but...
I mean, that's the point of that game, though. Is like, there's no true bad guy.
Yeah, the world has gone to shit. Good and bad are all gray now.
Position.
Yeah. So everybody has good reasons and bad reasons for what they're doing. It's just what is of a world that is like that.
Yeah.
In a more extreme world, not like today world, but like much more extreme circumstances. What is it like when everybody has good intentions and bad intentions for how to bring humanity back from the brink?
Yeah.
So we ended up liking that a lot. That was my second time playing through it. But last night we played the DLC, which is entitled Left Behind. That was the first time that I had played that one.
Really?
Yeah, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's a story that we kind of like. If you've played through The Last of Us and you haven't played the DLC, it's a story that is mentioned, and you know what happens. It's just the tension of actually getting to see it as it unfolds. So the story goes back and forth between the part in The Last of Us where Joel falls from like the second story of the laboratory onto that like metal rebar pipe
Yeah.
And he's hurt really badly, and he passes out. And Ellie has no idea what to do, so she has to go find stuff to stitch him up and make sure he stays alive. And it then does a bunch of flashbacks to before Ellie met Joel, and it's her time with the character Riley, which we don't get to see in the main story. But Ellie mentions her multiple times. She's like, "Oh, I knew someone that was really into video games, and they knew everything about this one. There's this character named Angel Knives, and this and that and stuff, you know." And then at the end of the game, Ellie kind of retells that story of just like, "Hey, I knew someone. We both got bit at the same time. She didn't make it, and I'm still waiting on my time." And so yeah, it was fantastic. I think it was told beautifully.
Yep.
So
I agree.
Well, it's awesome to hear that from the perspective of a friend who she doesn't play games too much, right? She was just watching you play this.
Every now and then she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know who Claptrap is," and I was like, "You've played Borderlands? Since when? You didn't tell me this."
So it's awesome to hear about how she thought of the story as somebody who hasn't played too many games, and that the story is still told that well, where it's like watching a movie, a long movie.
That's exactly what it was. I was like, this is probably gonna be like watching a TV show for you. Except you can hear me cussing at the screen when I continually die. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to? God damn it! But yeah, it was good. It was fun. We had a blast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mick, what about you?
So I beat Luigi's Mansion 3, Wrath of Luigi.
Luigi's Mansion.
I stand
Luigi's
Luigi.
sexy maid service.
God, I wish Luigi was a sexy maid. Never mind.
I will make sure to edit that one out.
No, leave it in. Leave it in.
Pass that.
I played some Modern Warfare, the new one. I've been slowly getting through that one. It's a lot of fun. I think it's a return to form for for Call of Duty campaigns. Being fun, interactive, not just.
How much have you played?
I played 2 or 3 hours of it. I just did a sniping mission, and I played a mission just before I had to go run some errands about me leading a woman through. I think you were talking about this, Ignacio. Did you play in Modern Warfare?
Yeah, I think I stopped right before the sniping mission.
So you played the mission where you led a woman through the embassy just through cameras.
No.
Okay.
The last mission I did was you storm a place with those suicide drones.
Okay, yeah. So a little bit past that, there's some really neat missions in this game. Like there's one a little bit past where you're going through a house, clearing it from terrorist threat, and then after that, there's another mission where you're in an embassy.
I think I did the house one.
Okay.
Yeah, it ends with the woman trying to blow out the house, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and there's some cool decisions in this too, because when you're playing through some of these missions, like for that one, she's just in this room, and then you have the option to shoot her or not shoot her. And
I didn't think of that.
Like for this woman, if you don't shoot her, she goes for a detonator and blows up a lot of bombs.
Yeah, I didn't want to shoot her. I didn't want the other guy to shoot her, but when it's revealed that she was going to blow up the house, I was like, okay, yeah. I made the wrong choice.
And then there's another choice later on where there's a car driving by this embassy that you're defending, and you have the option of blowing it up or not blowing it up. I chose to, and they were saying, oh, it might be a suicide car bomber. Might be a car bomber. Get rid of it now. And I chose to wait, and it just drove by. It was a civilian car. So they have these little choices in this game that are all scenario based. I don't know what happens if you choose to do something or not choose to do something, but it kind of adds more weight. Like, it's not all you must destroy everything in sight, everything is an enemy. Because there are some civilians, there are some bystanders nearby that would get affected by what's going on. But I'm having a great time with it so far, and I'm planning on continuing it after finishing up here.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Have you done much of the multiplayer stuff?
I played a little bit of it. I love the new 2v2 mode that they have, where you spawn in an arena. It's a small arena. I think you have like 45 seconds to kill the other team or capture a flag. And if nothing happens, then it goes by health. Every round, it's a new loadout. Everybody has the same loadout.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a really unique and fun idea that's really changing up the Modern Warfare multiplayer.
It's good because I've heard nothing but good things.
Are you playing Crossplay?
I played.
Do you have it on?
I don't know if I have it on. I need to check, but
I think it asks you.
I might have chosen to not do it then.
Okay.
Just because I wanted to play against Xbox people, and I have had issues on like Fortnite where some modes they don't have enough people, so they'll fill it in with other people, and then you'll be completely destroyed by PC players.
Yeah, that was the problem I had. I've only played the multiplayer once, and I was actually playing with Andy Cortez.
Mm-hmm.
So we had people from his chat joining in, and we had PC players on the opposite side, and we got wrecked every time. I don't think we won one.
Because, I mean, people try and say that it's equal, but no. If you have a mouse and keyboard, you will wreck shop. So I just didn't choose to do that out of I don't want to have a terrible multiplayer experience by knowing somebody has a substantial advantage over me.
Yeah.
But if I play against somebody on PlayStation, then that's fine. So if they had an option of choosing, I just want to play against PlayStation people, then I would choose that.
Yeah. Doesn't Fortnite do that? Or am I mistaken?
Fortnite does have crossplay, and it chooses at first to choose people who are playing on your console, and then it branches out.
But don't you have the option to not play with PC players, but with console players?
I haven't.
Or am
looked
I
into
making
it.
that up?
You might be making it up.
Okay.
But I don't want to say for certain yet. I'm not going to call you a liar just yet.
I'm not gonna call you a liar, but
But you're a
just
liar.
Give it a minute. You're a liar with an asterisk.
okay, I'll take that.
So yeah, I want to look into that a little bit more. But I mean, so far I've been playing the campaign. I love the campaigns. They haven't played for the past 4 or 5 Call of Duties, but I'm glad I'm getting back into it. Other than that, I've been playing A Hat in Time, which I've been streaming it, and this is a fun 3D platformer game where you're exploring a nice open area. It's very much like a modern day Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah.
So
it does look like that.
Yeah, and it first came out on PC, but they said for a while they were going to come out on Switch, and they finally did a couple weeks ago. And it's
finally. It was like a long time ago.
Yeah, they announced it at least a year ago. Like, it's coming to Switch, and said eventually.
Yeah.
With its DLC, but now it's out. I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. It's cute. It's charming. It's something that I've been craving for a while. It's like a fun little 3D platformer game that is just a collectathon.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't too hard to control.
Okay.
But I'm going to leave this game as a streaming game, so I'll just be playing it on my streams.
Oh, you stream?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where?
Oh, a little place called twitch.tv/thenanobiologist.
Oh, nice.
Where you can, if you subbed me at $5, you can get a cute corgi emote.
Nice.
Sushi.
And other than that, so a best friend created a 3D printing model of something for your Switch called the Switch Fix. And it's something that holds your Pro controller and your Switch in it.
Is it out?
It is out. He started it's on I need to look up I'll send you guys a link to it, but you can pre-order it, and I think right now it's first come first serve. I got a founder's edition, so I think it's just you can get it engraved. I just have it saying It's just a Founders Edition for me. But it is amazing. If you like to play Switch and handheld, it is a must-get.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks great. I've been wanting to get one for a long time, but yeah, it was only for certain people.
Yeah, he was making it for influencers, especially best friends. So he made some for kind of funny people, the what's good girls, some other people. But now it's a mass market thing, and I think it's a fantastic accessory.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
I know I'll be playing a lot of my Switch over the holidays.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kyle, I think you should get it if you're going to be traveling and you have a Pro controller.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much, I forget off the top of my head how much it is, but it's not that bad.
Okay.
But I'll send you guys links. And if you want to look for it, it's called Fixture S1.
Fixture S1.
Yes.
There you go.
And that's really about it.
Okay. Well, a little bit of housekeeping for you guys. Just a reminder that we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts, including the Captain's Log, the Review Show, and the Reactor Core. So you guys should absolutely go check out all of those on our website, thewhatnauts.com, as well as your podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts, and you can find all of our shows right there. And if you like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us. The $1 tier gets you access to early episodes. The $3 tier gets you all kinds of exclusive content. We'll have to start talking about what we want some exclusive content for Crossplay to be. Figure out something we can do with that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah. And then we also want to give a big shout out to our patrons at the $5 tier. So thank you to Sam and Christine for helping us out and keeping the mics on. We love you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. News stuff this week. Mick, you normally take this away. I'm actually gonna toss this first one to Ignacio, though, because we saved this story from last week while Ignacio was out of town. But you wanted to talk about the Yakuza 7 box art stuff.
Yeah. Strap in, boys, because it's my time now.
Buckle up, boys.
Buckle up.
I'm ready.
Okay, so, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, Sega released gameplay footage for Yakuza 7. So a bit of a backstory for Yakuza 7. The game was first released last year, and the only thing we knew back then was that there was going to be a new protagonist.
First announced back then, not released.
Yeah, when it was first announced. Yeah, so we knew that there was going to be a new character, which would be different from the one that has been there since the beginning, which is Kazuma Kiryu, who's no longer part of the series. So that's what we first knew. Then, like a couple months ago, it was revealed that the game was going to be, instead of the typical kind of a beat 'em up, kind of action game, it was going to be more similar to an RPG with turn-based style. So that's all we knew back then. So we didn't actually know what it was going to look like, that type of game with an RPG turn-based style. But now that the gameplay has been shown, we know more about what actually is in the game, or how it actually looks. And I'm seeing that you deleted my notes.
I tried to shorten it up a bit. I might have deleted something that you were looking for.
Yeah. But okay, so we now know what the game looks like. The gameplay. It is turn-based, as you might expect, but it actually kind of combines the turn-based with the regular gameplay of the Yakuza games.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks like it is still the same gameplay, but it is actually turn-based. The other characters actually keep moving when you're in your turn. So that's one thing. I couldn't tell really what options you had because the live stream was in Japanese. What else? Okay, so the gameplay, it is different from the other ones, but so far with what I've seen, I'm not as worried as I was before. It does look okay for now.
Yeah, from what you had written down here and what I've seen online, it looks like it is turn-based. However, it looks like it's like the way they're doing that turn-based, like characters aren't standing still, right? Like it's not like it's not a line of your characters versus a line of the bad guys, right? It's they're kind of moving around and stuff like that. So there is this sense of like of 3D space
fluidity
that you're gonna be like fluidly moving around in, and I think that will be neat.
Yeah, and that was actually one of the best things of the last games was its fluid gameplay. So it looks like at least it's retaining some of that. Now, reading from the notes I have here, the open world is similar to that of Yakuza 6 or Judgment. Does seem to be in the same engine as those games. The game still has random encounters, like last time. You actually see your enemies out in the streets. The city shown is the port city of Yokohama, and it will be 3 times bigger than Kamurocho. Kamurocho is actually the town where most of the other games have taken place, either completely or partially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3 times bigger than that city. Some activities you have, you can go watch movies. That's new. You have to try to not fall asleep. Shipmen actually appear around you, and you have to make them go away by pressing their corresponding buttons. Typical Yakuza stuff.
Yeah, it's what's his name? What was the character's name? The like really flamboyant one that would like jump out at you and
that's
try and fight you.
Majima Goro.
Yes,
Majima.
I imagine like a character like him in this like sheep outfit, just being like, whoa!
Yeah, yeah, it's really weird. Another side activity that was shown was karaoke. So karaoke is back. I think it has been in every other Yakuza game, but it's good to see it in this one. It works similar to how it did in Yakuza 6, but now, since you have other party members, you'll have them with you when you go singing, and they will cheer you on.
Nice.
So that's nice. Instead of just being a Yakuza member in a suit, just singing your heart out all alone.
Oops, I did it again.
Yeah. Actually, the karaoke is one of my favorite parts of the Yakuza games.
Those games
it's one
are
of the
so
first things
wild.
I do.
I've only played Kiwami 1, the first one, but it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kiwami 1 has, I think, my favorite karaoke songs.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to the really juicy stuff.
Here we go.
So, spoilers for Yakuza 6 ahead. So, if you look at the Yakuza 7 box art, you will spot a familiar face, or more specifically, a familiar hair. Jun Gihan, the dude with the white hair and leader of the Korean mafia and owner of Stardust in Yakuza 6, appears in the box art. He actually died from a shot in the head at the end of Yakuza 6.
I thought that it had said Starburst. It's like, oh, they made the Starburst candy.
No, it's a nightclub called Stardust.
Okay.
So in Yakuza 6, after you finish his boss fight, he is shot in the face. There's no way he could be alive. So this might suggest that the game is taking place before Yakuza 6. So that's interesting.
Okay. What if he has a twin?
And it's also
evil twin.
That guy is evil already.
A good twin.
A good twin. Yeah. Yeah, but so seeing all the other trailers on the new character, it was looking more like the game wasn't going to have any connection to the regular Yakuza series.
Mm-hmm.
And this is even more supported with the fact that I don't know if it's in the West or in Japan, but in one of those places, it's not called Yakuza 7. It's actually Yakuza something else. But it's nice to see that there will be at least some connection to the other Yakuza games. Because Judgment, which is a game that actually takes place in the same world and in the same city, it doesn't have any connection other than that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all I have to say.
There you go. Take us away, Mick, with the rest of the news then.
Okay, so next up is popular Fortnite YouTuber has been permanently banned for cheating. So Jarvis on the Faze clan, who had nearly 2 million subscribers on YouTube, has been permanently banned after using aimbots, which is something that will automatically track your enemies and aim for their heads or aim for certain spots and get easy shots and kills on. So people have been saying it's unfair because he makes a living off this game. Like Ninja was saying that he should be considered differently because he's making a living and not a casual player. Others are saying good, or saying it should have just been a temporary ban because they were being too harsh.
Yeah,
but there have been some other people who were cheated and banned only temporarily and allowed to play during the World Cup later on. So it's weird how this is developing overall.
Yeah, I think with Ninja's comments, because I didn't hear about this at all until Ninja started commenting. And I think his comments are actually kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about them exactly. I think I understand where, like, the point he's trying to make, where he's more of an entertainer rather than a competitive player. Like, he's not trying to win tournaments with this per se.
But FaZe is on a professional team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't he playing like non-competitive when he was using the M-bots?
Yeah, he
I
was.
think that's what I read.
Yeah, like he was just making a video for his YouTube channel, being like, "Hey, I'm gonna download these aim bots and see what they do," right? And yeah, so it's this weird thing of like, well, yeah, duh, you cheated. There's gonna be consequences. It doesn't really matter if it's competitive play or not. The terms of service of the game is like, yeah, we don't stand cheating. Like,
Yeah.
Apparently Epic commented and was like, yeah, we have a zero tolerance policy, blah 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 blah. But then, yeah, like this article, which we got from Polygon, mentions that, yeah, there are other professional players who have used cheating software and stuff in actual tournaments and only got a temporary ban, and were later allowed to play during the World Cup. So to me, that's the strange thing of like, if you have a zero tolerance policy, sure, you have to give consequences across the board, but shouldn't that be the same no matter what then? Or I don't know, but like,
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
do we know
they
if
have-
he got in trouble beforehand and like this is the final straw, or
Well-
they have been lax with him?
so he posted a video, basically being like, hey, I've been banned. This is the first time anything like this has happened. I've never used cheating software before. And the video is in the article, and it's up on his YouTube page. I'm sure you all can find it. But he seems genuinely upset. Like, he's crying in this video. of just like
I'd be
like,
crying too if I lost my livelihood.
Yeah, he looks shook of just like I honestly didn't think this would have this big of an effect. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, we should pity him and stuff like that, but he does genuinely seem like he just made a mistake and didn't think about it, rather than like, hey, I'm gonna cheat to win to further my career or something like that. So it's an interesting situation.
Yeah. But I'm of the mindset of he cheated, so adios.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
There absolutely needs to be some kind of consequence.
Yeah, there needs to be a punishment.
But
Well, I think it has to be the
the
same one
punishment.
for not just for people who play professionally, but what do you do for people who just aimbot and are playing casually? Do you ban them completely? Because it should be the same consequence no matter what. And yeah, people did get temporary bans beforehand, so maybe they're just cracking down now because they might have seen a big resurgence of it in people. So they're saying he's like kind of like an example of it.
yeah.
Yeah, well, you could, in the case of Epic, you could like make the reasoning that because this guy is so popular and because he's playing against random people and not in a control setting like it's in a tournament, it is affecting them more because if, I don't know, say I'm playing against that guy and I keep losing against him, I'm gonna be dissuaded to keep playing the game because I'm starting to feel that the game is unfair. So it would be, in the end, affecting Epic in a way. So I could see why they are treating this situation different from the others.
Plus, if he's making videos with an aimbot thing, then that's giving people the wrong impression if they're finding his videos and giving people the wrong impression of the game.
Yeah.
So it's just false advertising for them as well.
Yeah.
Because if people, like these professional players who were found cheating beforehand not making videos, then that might be the reason why they're banning him, because he's falsely advertising their game and also showing it in a bad light.
Yeah. I think something like maybe 6 months to a year-long ban would have been fine. Maybe actually fine him something like, hey, you not only have the ban, but here's a fine. You can't do that. You know.
Yeah.
You now owe us a certain amount of money for damages or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they could sue him for damages, actually, I think.
But I mean, we'll see how this all plays out. I think if they start finding players like this, it's gonna be really pushing esports into the realm of sports, which
is kind of what they want.
Exactly. And right now, sports teams, if you mess up, if you break the rules in a bad way, you get fined a lot of money. Granted, the pool is not nearly as big, but yeah, I could see that happening eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. The industry is still so new. Who knows how it will be in a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people who are leaving the industry, forcefully or not, Gio Corsi has departed PlayStation. And he was the global second-party games head of PlayStation. So this has kind of been like a mass exodus of heads of PlayStation leaving one after another.
Oh, what is going on at PlayStation? Because the next story we have after this is Guerrilla's Herman Holst takes over Sony Worldwide Studios as Shuhei Yoshida champions the indies. There's all sorts of shakeups.
Yeah,
but I mean, for that case, Yoshida and Herman Holst, I think that has more to do with restructuring the company, preparing for the new console.
Yeah.
I think Gio Corsi there could be something like else there.
Yeah,
but who knows?
It could be the tea leaves that we're reading, or it could just be like I've heard other people say, where they are such higher ups in this place that there is no other way for them to go unless the higher ups above them quit. Like there's no room for promotion, so they just want to keep on developing because they don't want to stay stagnant at PlayStation. They already did a great job with this generation. That the only way they can really go is either down or move somewhere else and build that place up.
Yeah, and it's arguable, I think, that Shuhei is now almost doing what Geo kind of did in not for second party stuff, but for third parties. So it's kind of a demotion, but I don't think it actually is. It's just like, hey, we're putting you over here on this one thing, kind of getting you out of the way. That makes sense. I don't know.
Well, the thing with Shuhei is PlayStation at first for PS4, they were pushing indies hard.
Yeah.
And then as the generation went along, they almost abandoned them all. And now the indies are really going to Xbox and Nintendo for more advertising and that support that they used to get from PlayStation at first. So having somebody with the foresight as Shuhei who can give them good advice and how to really develop for the platform, it's not really I could be seen as a demotion, but it can also be seen as he's going to make their indie game and help boost indie games so much more in that role.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like it's not not me saying, oh, he's gonna do a bad job or stuff like that, or like, you know, they're kind of putting him off in this thing that doesn't really matter. I think he's gonna knock it out of the park. Yeah, it's so weird to see all of that happening, and then let's not forget that about a month ago, Sean Layden left the company to almost no fanfare.
That
was so weird.
That was very strange, and that was the same day that at Sushi Morita retired.
That was a retirement, so
it's just
I don't think that
there's just so many people leaving or changing or
the only one I think we need to be concerned about is what happened with Sean Layden, because there was no fanfare, there was no press release about it. He just left and they put out a quick tweet.
Yeah.
So either he was, I suspect that he was supposed to be the one taking over the indie role that Shuhei's taking, but he did not want to do it and he just left. And that shook up their plans, and now we're kind of seeing some aftermath. And Shuhei seems like a guy who is very loyal to PlayStation for his many years there.
Yeah.
And will stick with it no matter what to make sure that PlayStation succeeds. But I think that Sean Layden was supposed to take over that role, saw it as a demotion or something that he just did not want to do, and just left.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shuhei's situation looks more like this is what the company needs now.
Yeah.
They realized how big the indies were at the beginning for the PlayStation 4, and they've noticed that they have been dropping that ball, so they need now to pick that ball back up, and they would need Shuhei to do that.
Yeah, and indie developers have been complaining about how lack of support they've had from PlayStation lately.
Yeah.
So they are getting hammered on that front.
Well, the PlayStation 5 is coming very soon, so we know they are getting ready for all of that stuff.
Within next year, 1 year away from it.
Yeah, but they're
I'd say November probably next year.
They're starting to plan for all of that stuff and put the right chess pieces in the right positions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So who knows? But does like, how does all of this stuff make you feel about PlayStation 5? Like, does this give you hope that they know what they're doing? Is this worrying to you? What do you guys think?
I got burned once by a console switch because I was a huge 360 fan. I'm still an Xbox One fan, but the way that they entered that generation, I mean, same from PS2 to PS3.
Right, yeah.
There's always one console that decides to get way too uppity and mess it up completely when they hit the reset button. So taking both of these with a grain of salt, and there's always some changes in leadership before a new console generation. But, I mean, I'm still going to be approaching both the Xbox Scarlet and PS5 very cautiously.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like seeing all this recent stuff, and not only this, but also Sony's recent attitude towards how they manage the console stuff, how weird they've been acting. It is making me a bit worried about the next console.
Yeah, I don't know if I've really paid attention to what things look like when the console generation is coming to an end and a new one is about to start. I don't think I've paid attention to that in the past. I guess I don't really have anything else to compare it to, but in what I would imagine, this just seems strange that it's all happening so fast, like all right around the same time.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and I worry that they are becoming more and more like they were back in 2006 for the release of the PS3, which was like a Sony with more hubris and not actually giving people what they want and not doing the right stuff. So I'm worried that they are becoming more like they were last time or back then.
That said, I do think promoting Herman Holst is a very smart move. He's been with Guerrilla for a long time, which has been a first-party studio for Sony. So he's someone that like really knows Sony and knows what they're looking for and stuff like that. So I think he will fit into that role splendidly. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. He did a great job with the latest Guerrilla game, and it's going to be interesting to see that kind of leadership who hasn't always been PlayStation corporate taking over that role, who is a developer and a developer in mind and heart, and how they'll approach the next generation and what games they'll produce.
Now, I have a conspiracy theory. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Time to put
Take
on
out
your
your
tinfoil hats. Yeah. I'm wondering if promoting Herman was something that's kind of been in the works for a while and might be part of the reason Death Stranding is on PC. Because Death Stranding is on the same engine that they developed at Guerrilla, that Horizon Zero Dawn was on. There's just connections there. I don't know. It might be a stretch conspiracy thing.
Yeah, I think it's more of a stretch.
I don't know. But I was just like,
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't know. But, I mean, it's a smart move because Xbox are probably seeing success by putting their games on PC, and it's just more money. Why would you not waste that
because
money?
it devalues your own console. That's why.
Does it, though? Because,
Speaking of-
you lose money when you create a console. That people create consoles at a
Yeah,
loss.
but you actually want people to have an incentive to buy your console instead of going somewhere else. So say if,
Right.
I don't know, PlayStation and Xbox both have no exclusive games, why would you choose my console over the other one? Services. But both services are kind of the same already, so why would you choose one over the other one?
So, speaking of all of that stuff, this is something I didn't put on the docket, but I believe it was... Oh, God, why am I not remembering who it was that said this? But they were talking about putting first-party games on a service like PS Now, and why PlayStation doesn't want to do that. And basically, they said they want to keep the launch of those games pure. Like I think they said pure and clean, or something like that. What do you guys think about that stuff? You guys know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah. It was an interview with some Sony guy.
Let me look it up. Yeah, let's see.
About adding games to PS Now, more recent games to PS Now, kind of like what they did with God of War, adding it recently.
I feel like this is a misspeak. Like when they said I feel like there's like a similar misspeak to when they were speaking about crossplay and they said, no, we want to keep the kids safe. Like, like I feel like it's just a misspeak because, yes, it makes sense that they don't want to put them on PS Now because, I mean, it might mean less money for them, what have you, especially for these huge releases for first-party games. But I feel like they're seeing the success and the popularity of Game Pass, even though they are doing better on PS Now than Game Pass just because of installer base size alone. But I feel like popularity alone and public incentive saying, oh, Xbox puts all their games on day and date on this service. Why doesn't PlayStation do it? And they're getting that negative press because of it.
Yeah.
Which is why we are starting to see them slowly change the way they're doing it with now they're putting a couple games on there a month that are on there for a couple months that are PlayStation exclusives and incentivizing people to get this program. And
so according to usgamer.net, Eric Van Allen wrote an article about all of this stuff, and he says Sony's PlayStation Now service has been doing quite well. The game streaming service has seen a significant increase in service, thanks in part to the addition of more recent blockbusters like God of War. And PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan says it hit 1 million customers. Blah, blah, blah. Where was the quote that I was looking for? It doesn't sound like Sony is looking at that kind of service for PS Now yet. I think that's in... Let's see, let me back up a little bit here. While PS Now is more comparable to Microsoft's Project X Cloud than the Ultimate Game Pass, the latter has been getting noticed for its day one availability of major first-party Xbox games like Gears 5. It doesn't sound like Sony is looking at that kind of service for PS Now yet, though. God, where's that quote? God damn it. I don't see it here. I don't see it. Oh, we just want to treat them with amazing care and respect and have those launches be clean and pure, Ryan says. So yeah, I think what you were mentioning, that this just seems baffling. It seems like one of those moments of, yeah, we don't want to do cross-play because we want to protect the children. Just like, what are you talking about?
yeah, they make some really weird comments that just don't work well in the public eye. And it might make sense corporately, just not when you're talking to the public and the public sees, what do they mean clean launches? Isn't any launch clean as long as there's no glaring bugs in the game?
It seems to imply that what he thinks Xbox is doing is dirty, right? By like, hey, we have this streaming service and we're putting our first party games on their day one, right? Like he thinks it's like a low blow is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're losing money. They're not treating their games right.
Yeah, which I don't agree with. Like, I don't have PS Now because of that. Like, if they put their first party games on PS Now, I would subscribe instantly, and I would be a customer for a long ass time.
Yeah, but maybe you subscribe to PS Now, but you wouldn't buy the games when they come out. So that's kind of the reasoning I think they are making. I don't think they see it as a financial.
They get my money every month then, instead of like maybe once every 4 months or 6 months. They get my money every single month, regardless of if there's something that I'm playing.
Yeah, but you have to assume that they because they had the numbers, you have to assume that they know that putting the games on PS Now when they come out isn't as financially, doesn't make much financial sense to do that as opposed to just releasing them $60 and not on streaming.
Yeah.
So
I think part of that is also because we aren't really ready for the streaming future yet, right? Like our internet is still not super fantastic. It's we have all data caps and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, they are hiding behind the numbers in the sense that, hey, it's still more profitable for us to just sell the game regularly.
I think another thing to look at too is Xbox. They have money. They are one unit with Microsoft, and Microsoft is going to throw money at whatever Xbox needs to keep that brand alive and well. And it's not divided nearly as much as PlayStation and Sony are, because PlayStation is like the real moneymaker at Sony.
Yeah,
they don't have too many other profitable things right now. Like, yeah, they have other things going on, but it's not nearly as profitable as how Microsoft is as a whole. And so Microsoft can easily support the funding and money, or just money in general, needed to throw money at Game Pass and keep games on there and support first-party developers, even when there is not as much money made overall. While Sony and PlayStation, they just don't have that backbone needed. While their console is doing fantastic this generation, they just don't have nearly as much of that backbone needed to really support that feature.
Yeah, Xbox has more of the, can take the bigger risk now, and they can afford it in order to make something greater at the long term, whereas maybe PlayStation doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's why I'm thinking, like, that's why they might call it clean, is that they don't want to take that risk.
Yeah. I think PlayStation established themselves a long time ago, and Xbox is still newer, right? And they're established enough, but I think they're making moves to set themselves up for the future.
Yeah.
And also,
We'll see.
I
also
agree with that.
Xbox being behind the PlayStation, they need to take bigger risks, whereas PlayStation doesn't need to, and they can comfortably stay at where they are now.
The only thing is, like, they don't need to take risks, but them not taking risks that everybody else is doing, like crossplay, for example, that's hurting their image and making them look.
That's why they had to change their position.
Yeah. So it's like they are way too comfortable in first that they're hurting their own image right now.
Yeah.
It's lack of foresight. They see the now as, why do we need crossplay when we have more people playing, when everybody else is saying that's the way the gaming is going. So they're settling for now instead of trying to get ready for the future. The Xbox did something similar with Xbox going into Xbox One generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it happens almost every generation where somebody gets too lackadaisical with how they conduct things, get way too comfortable, and then it bites them in the butt really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things I'm afraid of, that Sony is becoming way too comfortable in first place, that they aren't going to do what's needed to keep that spot. They're becoming too hubris.
And it's going to be hard to get them out of that, because a new thing came out saying that PlayStation 4 is like one of the top selling consoles of all time. It's now number 4, I think. And PlayStation PlayStation has 3 of their 4 consoles in the top 5. That's huge.
They're a powerhouse. That's for sure.
Yep.
But they also have that international audience that Xbox doesn't have nearly as much of.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So let's move on to the next one.
Well, see, speaking of best-selling things,
hey, there we go.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has earned the title of best-selling fighter game in history.
As it should.
Exactly. It's a fantastic game. It finally toppled Street Fighter II, which sold 15.5 million units after release, after releasing 7 unique versions since its launch in 1991. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate didn't spend much time in chasing down that record. It It sold 12.8 million units sold just 3 weeks after its release, and finally beat the record with a whopping 15.71 million copies sold by September 30th.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Jeez,
But
man.
it's
Good for you.
it's a fantastic game, and I think it deserves all the recognition.
Yeah. And it's also the better fighting game.
That's up for debate for anybody. That's subjective. I prefer.
You want to fight about it?
Sure.
I mean, I preferred over the 2D fighters that other games are. Like, not just 2D fighters, but like just 2D arena fighters. I think Super Smash Bros. Is much more interactive and eye-catching. But congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Man, I still remember staying up all night and like having sleep overs playing the original. So good.
I mean, I remember
So
in
good.
college, my friends and I've talked about this several times, but we would just play Smash Bros. For hours.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we are doing now in college. We're playing Smash for hours.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's just that one pickup game that anybody can play together, and the fact that it allows more than 2 people to play at once is a great party game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm gonna skip
Friendships
over.
have been made and they have been broken.
Oh yeah,
For
absolutely.
Smash Bros.
Most Nintendo party games, Mario Kart with a blue shell, Mario
Yeah.
Party being Mario Party.
Yeah.
One time, I think I was like 13 or 14. I was at a friend's house, and we're playing Super Smash Brothers on the N64, and I think it's down to 2 people, and one of the guys that was still in the game was screaming at the other one, being like, "Die already! Die already!" And as he's saying that, there was this other kid who was a couple years younger than us. He must have been like 8 at the time, and he walks in and he hears him screaming, "Die already!" And he thinks he says something else, so he repeats it, and he goes, "Diarrhea!" It was so funny.
Oh man, have you guys had a chance to play with Terry yet?
Yeah.
I have not. No.
I did 2 days ago, I think. Yeah.
So, for some context, Terry Bogard is the new fighter for Smash Bros. Ultimate from SNK fighting games back in the day. Sakurai loves Terry and SNK Final Fight. Is that what he's from?
I don't know.
I have no idea, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's very popular.
I don't even really know who Terry is.
But he's a fighting game now in
Before
another
my
fighting
time,
game.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that he's added and they're still supporting this game. And they're
Yeah.
going to be adding more even after the 5 characters.
Yeah, we're still 1 away from the 5, and then we still have all the other ones that will come later.
They didn't even specify how many they're going to add after the 5. So it could be
Yeah.
lots. It could be just 1 or 2.
It's wild.
So we will see. But speaking of Terry, one of his friends, Mai Shiranui, is not for good boys and girls, according to Sakurai. So,
Too
Yep.
boobily.
too boobily,
The
rambunctious.
the article that I found from Polygon, they tweeted it out, and their tweet said that her breasts were too boobily.
This was so weird too, because this is during his super long, in-depth direct going over Terry Bogard.
Smash is
And-
for good boys and girls of many
Yeah.
different ages.
Did he really say that?
Yes.
Yeah. That was
he did.
his reason for not having Mai in the game. Have you looked up pictures of her Ignacio?
No, but I might do it now.
She's wearing like a gi, but it's very loosely tied onto her.
Yeah, it's just looser clothing. She has a lot of cleavage, and
I can see why.
Yeah, so they were like, we're not going to include her. Apparently, there's been a little bit of confusion over the translation. And I saw that there was an article that came out that was like, actually, Sakurai didn't say that in the Japanese thing. He said something else. And then someone came back and said, well, no, he actually kind of did say that. There is something in there that directly translates to good children. So I think the idea behind it was just that, like, hey, if we added this character in, we would no longer be able to keep the E for everyone writing, which the game has, and he was like, this is for everyone, for good boys and girls of many different ages.
And the thing is, she was just going to be a background character. Like, she was going to barely be in the game at all.
But still, it would have been a doom if you do, doom if you don't. Do you cover her up, you're going to piss someone off. If you don't cover her up, you're going to piss someone else off.
Yeah, there's the issue with her outfit of like, well, do you respect the original creation and keep the outfit intact, or do you change it and piss some people off just to have her in the game? That being said, I think whether she was going to be a character or not, down the road there are other SNK fighters in the background of the level, and it's like everyone is there except Mai. And so
it's even
like, really?
It pops out even more because apparently she is one of the most recognizable characters from the series.
Yeah.
So her omission, it does pop out.
Which is probably why he addresses it immediately during the direct.
Yeah.
That being said, apparently the Dead or Alive developer Team Ninja joined in on the fun on Twitter by noting that you can play as Mai in Dead or Alive 6, and the company welcomed players to, quote, the world of adults, and quote, while linking to her DLC. They were like, hey, you can play as her over here.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, Dead or Alive isn't the most kid-friendly game out there.
No,
welcome
not
to
at
the
all.
world of adults.
But that is some cute little fun that companies are having with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys been seeing all the posts that people have been making for Death Stranding and the adaptations? Like, my favorite one is the Luigi holding a Guigi tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the thread for that started, I think it was Sucker Punch, with giving the BB a sword? And then Guerrilla coming out saying, and my bow. And then someone else coming up, and then Santa Monica saying, and my boy.
That's adorable. I love when companies do that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Death Stranding, Kojima's productions could make movies in the future. So there was a recent documentary by BBC.
Boobies.
Yeah, I
get that out of your mind. This is a podcast for good boys and girls.
In the future.
This is a podcast for good boys and girls. How
so that's what BB stands for.
Oh, God,
boobies.
Damn it. Staying on track, they could make movies, as in motion pictures. And
I've seen kind of what they're doing already in the
what
games.
Kind of movies you're talking about. Okay.
Shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's no hint, it's no stretch of the imagination that Kojima loves movies and wants to make movies.
Yeah.
So
He already kind of is doing that.
yeah, with each
If we're being
cutscene.
honest.
what do you guys think of this? Because the thing that I've seen people talking about is that, oh no, we don't want him to make movies. We want him to make a TV show. Like, would you guys?
I think a TV show would be great because it does give him that extra room to work with.
Yeah.
But overall, it's gonna be weird to see him so restrained.
See, I don't know if I actually agree with what people have been saying. I think a lot of the critique that he gets on Metal Gear Solid and in Death Stranding now is that there's almost too much, right? Like, this is a really, really long game, keeps on adding things. There's just all sorts of stuff from all sorts of different genres and locations and who knows what. I think if he can make a movie that will help him to learn to stay focused, right?
Yeah, but I don't think Kojima can keep focused, nor do I think he should. Like, I would much rather him have all the time he wants to do whatever he wants. Like, I don't want him constrained to 1 hour, 2 hours, possibly 3 hours. I want him to have more time, several episodes, several seasons.
I also wouldn't mind that. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's the thing is sometimes he likes to make things so sprawling that what he's actually trying to say kind of gets watered down, right? Or is just, hey, let's fill all of this with a whole bunch of exposition. Here's a 2-hour-long cutscene explaining, one thing. Here's a half-an-hour thing explaining who this character is, right? Where it's like you don't you don't necessarily need all of that to tell your story. In fact, some of these stories can benefit by chopping it all out and being like, hey, I trust the audience to kind of put this together the right way, or hey, if I'm constrained to only this certain time limit, then maybe I'll get down to business and say what I actually need to say.
And this is where I come in the mindset of this is a wait and see thing. I want him to make a TV show and a movie to see how each of them works, because him making games, it's hard to translate over to other mediums too, because there is that interactive element involved with games. So it's all a wait and see.
His game, I do think, translate well to movies. I actually, in my case, I skipped Metal Gear Solid 3 and I actually watched it as a movie, and I think it worked well as a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So I don't think you'll lose much with his games.
Yeah. But again, he's been such a movie buff that it's going to be really cool to see him make anything, to be honest, that with the mindset of a movie, and him being such a revolutionary in technology.
Death Stranding looks fantastic. I just have to say that again. It looks amazing. So he definitely has a knack for stuff.
And that opening is very cinematic.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It does open like a movie.
I need to watch the opening cinematic still.
Yeah.
At minimum. So, if you guys do you guys want to move on?
Yes.
To our last topic.
Last thing.
To round out the show and what's going to be rounding out the year, Nintendo has announced their Black Friday bundles. And the funny thing is, their big Switch bundle, it's from last year. It's not the new it's not the new Switch model. It's not the one with the extended battery life, but it's basically the same exact one from last year.
It's even the same deal.
Same exact deal, yeah. It's Mario Kart 8 with the old model.
Is a fantastic deal, but I think it's just important to note for people out there who might be shopping for a deal on Nintendo Switch. This is Yeah, the older model, which has the worst battery life. And
Yeah.
this is also the same model that had the Joy-Con drift problems.
I think the other one also had it.
Yeah, the Switch Lite has had it as
Yeah.
well. I don't think it's been to the same extent, but it's just like, hey, they're trying to clear out their stock of all of
Yeah,
this
you have to
stuff.
assume that's why.
So
And for the general consumer, they won't know what to look for on the box to figure out if it is the new battery life or not.
exactly.
So it is pretty scummy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks.
But what else are you going to do with that stock?
Yeah.
Strip it down for parts.
Yeah.
Strip it for parts. Mark is junk.
Yeah. Put it on Craigslist.
No, but I think that would be stock that the retailers have, not Nintendo. So they would
Maybe.
have to ship them back to Nintendo for them to do anything with those consoles.
Yeah.
But, I mean, have they been keeping this bundle around since last year? They had to have gotten new ones to keep up with stock and the demand for Black Friday. I think that's the thing. It's like they don't have so many Switch bundles left over from last year that they
Yeah,
decided to copy and paste it.
I don't think it's that exactly. It's in my mind, it's more like, hey, we made a deal with a certain company to get this many parts and all of that stuff. So we're still using those parts. And hey, we can just use the same deal as we had last time, and we'll just bundle everything together. Right, so it's not them just being like, hey, we're just not gonna use the parts that we already paid for. Let's just get rid of them. Let's sell them.
And do we know if it's actually a bundle and not just them giving you both the game and the console at the same time for that price?
I think it is a bundle.
I believe it
Because
is
it has
the bundle. Yeah,
It has Mario Kart 8 on the box.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but you have to assume that they still have plenty of that stock.
Well,
I guess.
we'll see. Just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
You're out shopping this holiday season.
In 3 weeks.
Have fun with Black Friday. I experienced it once and not again.
I do.
See,
all
I
my
always go-
stuff digitally.
I always go a couple hours after Black Friday starts, so it's not nearly as much mayhem.
Yeah.
And it's like a fun thing my mom and I do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is it for the news. This is typically where we would end the show. But we are going to be doing a Luigi's Mansion review here at this moment in time. So if you have not played the game and you don't care for this review, we will see you guys next time then. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Mario? Mario. Yeah, so here's what we will do. Since we haven't really discussed too much how we want to do review stuff, let's kind of do a shortened version of what we do on the review show and the reactor core. So let's do like a very brief general impressions now that both Nick and I have beaten the game, and like a plot synopsis and stuff like that, and then we can get into spoilers and stuff like that. And I will mark it with a special sound. We have like a spoiler alert sound thing that we can do.
Okay.
And then we'll dive into it. And Ignacio, if you have questions, ask away.
Okay.
That's
So,
what we
how
can
much
do.
do you hate the game?
I don't hate the game.
Huh,
It's a
interesting.
game of the year contender for me.
Interesting. It's up there in my top 10. I don't think it would be my game of the year. I liked this game a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. If you listened to our episode last week, though, I was like, hey, there's some parts of this that maybe seem a little bit difficult or seem off or something is up. And I think that still stands. But for the most part, yeah, I think this is perfectly fine. This is a great game that I think is exemplary of that, like, second tier Nintendo. Like, it's still really good, but it's not the Super Mario Odyssey, right?
So would you say it's great, good, or fine?
I would say it's
I think
good.
it's great.
Okay.
There you go.
There's only some parts that I did not like about this game, like when you're on a raft trying to fight a boss in the basement, and I had some issues with the final boss of this game. I don't know what was going on, but I just could not find the correct King Boo. But I thought it was a great game. I thought it's a lot of fun. It's charming. The puzzles are great, and there's a lot more replayability once you go back through and start collecting all the gems and all the boos and finding everything in the levels. Plus, there's cool extra modes like the Scare Scraper, which is like a party mode, head to head, where you're fighting ghosts through a hotel, and the other one where you're actually going against head to head and just like party game like modes with Luigi's Mansion. But I think it's really well made. The controls are a little wonky, but once you get used to them, it's fine. It's fun. But
Yeah.
I still think it's a fun and great first-party Nintendo game.
And it looks beautiful.
Oh my god, it looks amazing.
It does.
It
So
looks fantastic.
How do you compare it to the last two games?
It's the best one.
I would say it's the best one. I only ever played the first one, though, so I can't really speak for the one that was on handheld. But yeah, I absolutely loved the first one. I think the first one was a lot shorter. It was more kind of open. You can kind of go where you want, I think. Whereas this is like each floor is its own level. You can do certain things in each floor. It's its own experience in each floor. So I
would you
that
say it
a lot?
It has a good variety of what you're doing across the game? Good level variety of what you're doing?
Oh my
Level
god,
variety,
yes.
yes. In terms of like options of what you can do, it's pretty much the same thing the entire game, right? You have your vacuum that you can suck or blow. You can squirt out your Luigi. You have your plunger, and that's about it.
Well, yes, the basics are the same, but they really add variety to how you're using those basics.
Yeah.
And really make you think about
Absolutely.
how can I finish this puzzle or beat this boss with the resources available to me. When you have the same resources for everything, but they add a lot of variety for how they're implemented.
So you don't pick... Sorry.
I was just going to say, I would highly recommend it. I think this is something well worth picking up.
Okay.
Let's see. That being said, let's do a brief plot synopsis, and then we will get into spoilers. This one is really simple. There's not much to say. Like it's Mario and Luigi and Peach and 3 of the Toads on vacation, and
they get invited to a nice hotel.
Oh yeah, big old mansion. And they get there and they get sent to their rooms and they fall asleep. And when Luigi wakes up, the mansion has kind of been transformed into this like spooky haunted hotel. And he has no idea what to do. And it turns out King Boo has trapped everyone in these paintings, and you have to go save them. Luigi is the only one who has escaped. And so then you end up finding Professor Egad, and he gives you the vacuum, and he gives you Luigi, and he's like, all right, go save your friends. that's kind of it. Like, it's super simple.
Yeah, I mean, the MacGuffin throughout this whole game is all the ghosts strip the elevator of its buttons, and you're just going floor to floor, finding the buttons to go to the next floor until you find King Boo.
Yeah.
Is there any backtracking in the game?
There is very
A little
minimal.
bit, but not much. Yeah. It's kind of more of just a like, hey, we'll do something different this one time because you've been doing the same thing. The past couple floors of just like, hey, you go to the new level, you beat the boss, you get the key, go to the next one, and then after like 2 or 3, it's like, oh, we're gonna do something else. We'll get into that in just a sec, but for now, we are about to get into spoilers, so be prepared for that, and I am going to play the sound right now. Mick, and why is it not playing it? Come on. Oh well, it's stupid. Doo-doo-doo. That's the sound.
Mario.
Yeah.
Mario.
I'm in the wrong scene on OBS. That's why it did not do the thing. So yeah, we're officially in spoiler territory now. Let's break it down and talk about the game. Mick,
Yes.
what made
Hi.
this game so fantastic for you?
I think it struck at the right time for me. Like I said, I've been wanting a collectathon game that's cute, funny, and not too difficult. Plus, it has a fun puzzle mechanics, I think. So, this has all of it that I've been really wanting and craving. The floors are really fun and unique, and the way that they design every floor is really awesome. And it really makes you want to explore every little nook and cranny. Like the pyramid level. Arriving there and seeing all the sand on the floor, my first instinct was, I'm not going anywhere until I vacuum up all this sand. And
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing where it's like, this is just a sandbox and I can vacuum it all up. I'm going to do that.
What's in here?
Yeah.
So I just think it's so funny and cute with, like I said, with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that really worked for me too. It was adorably spooky is I think how to
That's perfect way of putting it.
best describe it. Because yeah, it's not scary. This is not a spooky game. You can actually play it with kids and stuff like that. It's meant to be for kids and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's not scary. It's not supposed to be scary at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really silly, and I think, yeah, for me, I think my favorite level was maybe the pirate ship.
I loved that one too.
I thought that was wild. So Ignacio, there's this one level that you get to like each of the floors have a different theme. So one of them is like, oh, this is the shops where you can eat at the cafeteria and buy a new outfit and stuff like that. You can't actually get that stuff, but it's
And
just
then
like,
one
hey,
is medieval
Oh.
times.
yeah, like, one is medieval, one is pirate themed, one is like a 80s disco hip hop club, one is the set of a Hollywood movie and stuff like that. It's fantastic.
Oh, also, floor 13. Did you notice that it's the one that's not super off the wall crazy? It's just a gym.
Oh yeah,
Like they decided to downplay because it's floor 13.
yeah, which I thought it was strange that they even had that in there, but I guess that's not really a thing in Japan. Maybe the like
What, a
unlucky
gym in-
13 thing.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
they have other unlucky numbers. I don't think 13 is one.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw someone being like, "This is the most unrealistic video game ever. There's a floor 13."
Yeah, well, not every place doesn't have a floor 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the pirate ship one was perfect in terms of like, hey, each floor is going to be something wildly different. And you're not gonna necessarily have new mechanics, but just new things to explore, new ways to use the mechanics you already have. So
and that one is such off the walls. It's the most extreme one of it.
Yeah, like you get in there and it's pretty much this like it's a bar that is supposed to be this like pirate cove. You can like go relax and get a drink and stuff like that. But then you go into the back room, and that's where you fight the boss, who is on this pirate ship. Like
there's a literal ocean in this floor.
Yeah, and basically you get on this ship, and that is where the boss fight takes place because the ship is haunted and stuff like that.
Haunted by a pirate shark.
Yes, by a pirate shark. And within the boss fight, like it's pretty typical standard stuff of like, oh, the boss has this one move you need to move out of the way, or you can suck up the bombs that are on here and shoot it in its mouth and stuff like that. But every so often, like after you do one cycle, the like haunted ship will, I guess the right word is capsize. It like stands up on its end, like hoping to suck you in, and you have to use your plunger to like hook on this one certain part so you won't fall in his mouth and stuff like that. And I was sitting there like, this is fantastic. This is awesome. I love this. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that one. What was your favorite stage, Nick?
Mine, I liked the magician one a lot. I thought that was really fun.
Okay.
And the movie studios, I thought had the greatest puzzle.
Yeah. Movie studios was a good one too.
Because, I mean, it was just so much fun and unique where you're going to each different movie sets, you look through a camera, and it really animates it like a full-fledged movie.
Yeah.
And you're working to solve this one overall puzzle that requires all of them to be used together in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
And just how they all came together. And the final boss fight was really fun too, where you're literally Godzilla, or fighting a Godzilla in a miniature city.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And then after you beat the boss, it's a filmmaker, and he says, all right, cut. Here, you helped me enough. Here's the button.
Yeah.
You can find him trying to cut the movie, and you can still suck him up in the end and get an achievement for it.
Oh, really? I'll have to
if you go back. If you go to the editing room.
I saw him in there, but I didn't think to suck him up.
Yeah, you get an achievement for it.
There you go. So yeah, that's one thing that I thought was interesting about this game. It has its own achievement system within the game, which I thought was neat. I really hope more Nintendo games do that, because they absolutely should. Just because it's fun to you know go do that stuff. Like I had no idea that I could go suck them up to do all of that stuff. I ended up getting one for sucking up all the stuffed animals. I think on, I forget which level it was. I think it was the magician's one, like all of the stuffed rabbits. And I was like, oh, that's neat that I just happened to get all of that stuff. The downside is I couldn't find a list of them. Like it's not in the menus or anything that I could see.
You have to go to a special place. You have to call EGAD on your virtual boo and hit log, and they'll bring you to like a log of like what the missions are, and then after that you have to scroll over to achievements.
I
didn't know about it being there either, but once I found it, it was a lot easier to track.
Okay. Yeah, that should have been something if you just like pause it Like that's the one thing you can say, like, here's
Yeah.
the achievements tab and stuff like that. Because I liked that it was in there, but yeah, I couldn't find it. Be like, what else can I go do?
Did you collect all the gems and booze yet?
I did not, no, and I don't think I will.
Okay, because there are special things you get for collecting everything.
Okay.
For all the gems, collecting every gem, which is there's 6 on each floor, you get a diamond encrusted plunger.
Nice.
For getting every boo, your flashlight looks like a boo.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
like cute little cosmetic things for going the extra mile.
I like that.
No Luigi customization though, which is a shame.
Yeah, that stinks. So I kind of mentioned this last week, but I think this game is also really missing out on the fact that it is not that there is not a I was gonna say leveling system, but there's not an upgrade system really. You get a couple extra powers late in the game, but you only really use them once. And it's I just think this game would be neat if during the course of the game I could spend my money on new powers or new upgrades to the vacuum and then use those to further explore the mansion. Or to go back, now that I have this power, I can go back to floor 12 and do this one thing, right? It's kind of missing out on that, and I think that's maybe in my mind one of the like biggest missed opportunities of like, hey, if they had just done a very, very simple Metroidvania of like, hey, maybe you only get 2 extra powers, but it's still 2 powers that you can unlock and then explore the mansion even more. I think that would be fantastic. And I think until they kind of start taking risks like that, not that I think that would be much of a not that I think that would be much of a risk, but until they do that, I think it's gonna be kind of stuck there as the like, hey, this is a second tier Nintendo game. It's not a Mario Odyssey. It's not a Smash Bros. It's Luigi's Mansion.
See, well, I agree with you that it would be cool to have those extra features. I think the way that it teaches you mechanics and how you can implement that in a boss fight and then everywhere else in the mansion is kind of in its own way a Metroidvania style game, because there are some gems and boos you can't find unless you do it certain ways that you don't learn about that you can do until later on in the game.
Right. Yeah, it's
So that-
in there a little bit, but not enough.
I think it's in there enough if you want to complete the game.
Fair. That's fair. Let's see. Anything else to mention about this stuff? So, difficulty. There is no difficulty setting. It's all just one thing. I happen to have some trouble. I think this is where talking about the controls comes in. They're really clunky, and I was having trouble doing exactly what the game wanted me to do. I remember I was fighting the Godzilla boss, and he does an attack where he basically shoots this energy ball at you, and you need to blow it back into his face. And for the longest time, I was doing that, and it wasn't doing a thing. It would still hit me. I tried sucking it. I tried blowing it. I tried using the plunger. I tried like running around the map to see if I could make it hit him instead, and it wasn't working. And then Egad was like, no, you need to blow it back in his face. And so I sat there and did that, and it still hit me. And I was just like, well, that, like, I don't understand this then. What am I supposed to do if I'm doing what you tell me and it's not doing a thing. And I guess at the end of the day, it was just I was not blowing in the exact right direction in the exact spot that they wanted me to make it go back to him. I don't know. But
Sometimes it also requires you to use both people, both Luigi and Luigi, to blow back enough.
After you do it that first time, yeah, you have to use both of them, which obviously I've beaten the game now, but yeah, like that, it just was like, I'm doing the thing you're telling me to. Why is it not working? So that was a little bit difficult and a little bit frustrating. So.
I think the only difficulty I ever had in the game was, like I said, that one boss fight where you're using a raft to get around the arena.
Mm-hmm.
It was just annoying to control.
Yeah,
and
that
then
one was not
the
fun.
final fight against King Boo, I was having issues on the final phase, which is a timed phase to beat the boss. The rest of the fight is not timed. Did you beat King Boo?
Yeah, I've beaten the whole thing.
Yeah, you only have 4 minutes to beat him.
I didn't know that.
Once the final phase starts, you have 4 minutes to find the final Boo and beat him. But I thought I was tracking them correctly, but every time I'd fire it, I'd miss. And so it'd be coming down to the wire. And I finally got it, like after like my 8th or 9th attempt.
Interesting. See, I had more difficulty on the hotel owner. Her whole thing where she's in the room. There's like that machine in the center that has the like spinning lasers and stuff like that, and you have to control Luigi on one floor and then send Luigi down below to do this stuff, and you have to switch back and forth. And I thought that was incredibly difficult. But eventually I got past that. I just bought out all of the stock of the like golden dog bones. I was like, I have 10 of these. I'm just gonna not really worry about hitting something that I don't need to hit.
Yeah, I think I only used like one golden dog bone throughout the whole game, and I would have liked to have him during the King Boo fight, but it was a can't go back type of thing, so I was too persistent and didn't want to go back.
Yeah. Did you end up figuring out what the trick was to figure it out?
For King Boo?
Yeah.
I think so. It's the one who spawns bombs.
Yes. Like each of their moves kind of has a tell, but especially the bombs and the one where they do the ground pound thing.
Yeah. But even to the ground pound, like you still lose track of them when they come back up.
Yeah, which I didn't like that. It's like, oh, well, they go off screen for a second, so I don't know which one is which now. But yeah, you just kind of have to wait for the bombs and then hope you get the right one. Because there were times in that I picked up the bomb and shot it at the one that tossed the bombs, or at least I thought did. And it was like, nope, that's not it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Come on. But yeah. That end fight was too. That end fight was a lot more difficult than I expected it to be.
But still, the ending is so satisfying and really cute.
Yeah, it's good.
Once you do beat it.
It's good. I liked it a lot. So yes, you said you thought this was a great game. You said it might be a Game of the Year contender. I thought it was really good. I don't know if I would put it that high up. I think if I don't necessarily want to get into the habit of doing scores on this, but I think just for a point of reference, if I had to maybe give this a score, I'd say like 7.5.
I'd give it a 9.0.
Okay. There you go.
But that's just my opinion.
Ignacio, are you still with us?
Yeah, still here.
Do you have any other questions for us that you think we missed or something we didn't talk about that you think we should?
No, I think you guys covered the important stuff.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, that's it.
Awesome.
That's our Luigi's Mansion review. We hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I'm sure this will be coming up in our end of the year, game of the year discussions, top 10 stuff. Who knows? Or if you listened to this, the one thing I will add on is from everything that I hear, you can play this game cooperatively, and it works fantastically to play with a younger child and have them like be Luigi. They have
Luigi doesn't affect your lives. It's only 25 health too.
It has Luigi has a little bit lower health, but once he dies, you can just respawn him instantly. So it doesn't really affect like the game over state or stuff like that, and they can just explore and won't get hurt as much because most things just go right through him. So there you go. That's the last thing that you should note on that. But yeah, I think this is a good one to add to your collection of Switch games.
Agreed.
That being said, let's wrap things up and we will get out of here. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter as Ignacio Rojas B. That's IGNACIO ROAJAS I think I spelled that right. Well, you find it.
There you go. Mick, where can they find you?
You can find me everywhere at The Nanobiologist, except on Twitter and Xbox and PlayStation, where they have character limits, so I am DA Nanobiologist.
There you go. And you guys can find me at YoKyleSpringer on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at The Whatnauts on Twitter. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Seriously though, if you guys like our show, we could absolutely use your help spreading the word. So tweet about it, share it on Facebook or something. Who knows? We would absolutely enjoy that. And don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes and Google Play and stuff like that. So we would appreciate that a ton. That being said, let's get out of here. We will see you guys next week for another episode. I'm sure we'll have our first impressions of Star Wars Jedi and Pokemon. We will be back then. We will see you guys. We need some way to end the show. We need like a slogan or a saying. Like a go video games or something not as cheesy as that.
Yeah.
Hold on, so you guys, that one. I can be the champion of Xbox. Like one of you be Nintendo, one for Sony or PlayStation. With our powers combined, I don't know, something dumb.
With our powers combined, video games. We will see.
Yeah, I think we
guys.
had to talk about it.
We will see.
We'll brainstorm a lot more.
We're gonna have to workshop.
Let's keep looking.
We will see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.
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 Thank you so much for checking out our show. We hope you enjoyed it. If you guys played Luigi's Mansion or Death Stranding, let us know in the comments below what you guys thought. Hopefully you enjoyed them. That being said, in the meantime, go subscribe to our channel, which is right up here in that corner, and then go watch one of our other videos right down here. We got all sorts of other podcasts for you to check out. Hopefully you enjoy those ones as well. But until next time, we will see you then. Bye.